Hey guys, welcome to Double Shot of Pirates. I'm Dejan Kovacevic, joined by Chris Halleck, covering the NFL Scouting Combine for us out there in Indianapolis. This is Double Shot Pirates. So we're going to do a double shot of Pirates. We're going to talk about stuff that's happening in today's game that they're playing. It's ongoing. They're down 3-1 to Atlanta in Port Charlotte. But more important than any of that, Paul Skenes pitched earlier. And it's the last time he's going to pitch for the Pirates for a while because they're heading to he's heading to the World Baseball Classic, where he's supposed to make two, what they refer to as starts in this weird, pretty much still meaningless tournament. Chris, your thoughts just before we even really get going on anything Pirates based on the World Baseball Classic. I don't think I've ever asked you this.
Yeah, I mean,
don't feel like what I said. It's just you might love the thing for all I know.
I think there are cool moments. I think anytime athletes get to represent their country in any kind of tournament, there's some sort of it's special in some way. Like even if it's not, no matter what it is, whether it's the Olympics or a Four Nations tournament or no matter what, That being said, it's the timing of it. It's like they jam it right before the season begins. Pitchers aren't stretched out all the way. Hitters aren't quite ready to go. It feels like a watered down version of baseball, but in the spectacle of it being on the international stage.
Yeah, I hate it. We can move on to the next subject. I don't even know that I shouldn't say that. I don't know that I hate it. You say something like it has its moments, and I'm thinking, what? Like, what does anybody remember from these things? And maybe that's partially because I don't think the United States has been particularly successful in it, and as a result, I don't know that we validate the thing. Does that make sense? Like, everybody knows where all the players come from, or at least an overwhelming majority of players. And because the United States, I don't think the U.S. has won this thing. Here, you can check that while I talk here.
Okay.
But what the list of champions for the World Baseball Classic? I don't want to sound ethnocentric here or whatever, but baseball's kind of our thing. And
yeah,
the pool of players being, I believe, 3/4, something in that range from the United States, and then you don't see the United States even do well in this tournament, makes it feel like it's not being taken super seriously by the main team. So imagine if you just, we just had this Olympic hockey tournament. Let's just say that Canada Canada is the one. Okay, let's just say that Canada didn't even really take it seriously. They sent some guys, and they never even finished in the final or anything like that. What do you see there?
So according to Google, the United States has won once. That was in 2017. Japan has won 3 times, and the Dominican Republic won in 2013. So,
do you remember anything about the United States winning the World Baseball Classic?
As soon as I saw it, I
like
vaguely remembered it. Yeah, like
you do
just a little bit of it. I mean, it wasn't.
Name one player.
Marcus Stroman for sure. I think he even won MVP that year, of the tournament.
Okay.
But it's of all the international tournaments, it's probably the one I pay attention to the least.
It's the least international tournamentiest. Paul Skenes pitched today before he heads out to represent the United States. He pitched for the Pirates today. Not that this game was, okay. 1 run and 1 hit over 2 1/3 innings. He struck out 4. He also walked 4, and he threw only 27 of his 53 pitches for strikes. I am terrified for what kind of a season he might have as a result, or I'm not, and nobody is. But
Nobody is.
It does bring up one question for me that I had. This was down in Bradenton, and that is like when you're already not just the number one and not just the Cy Young guy, but when you already come across as the perfect pitcher, and when Skenes shows up in Bradenton as he did back on reporting date, and he said himself, no new pitches, nothing to add to the arsenal. And why should he? He's got like 7 pitches. He's got plenty of stuff. He wants to continue getting better. Continue. What the heck does that even look like? You know,
I don't know.
How does he get better? He mentioned, and actually he emphasized, I should say, he just going deeper into games. And that means managing your own pitch count. And that means getting guys to, boy, here comes that old Ray Searage term. It's not pitching to contact per se, but it's making sure that you're not just flat out missing on pitches that hurt your count, which I'm going to presume had to have happened today just looking at that box score.
Yeah, when you look at Paul Skenes and any potential improvements he can make, he made 32 starts last year, and somehow didn't get to 200 innings. And I understand baseball is different nowadays. They don't ask starting pitchers to, hey, we really need 7 innings out of you tonight. Like, no matter what, we got to get 7 innings.
No, they do not do that.
They don't do that anymore. But for 32 starts, even in today's day and age, I kind of think 200 innings is very feasible, especially when you can.
For him, yeah.
Yes. And so, yeah, that could, I can't think of it off the top of my head, and I could also pull up his game log and everything like that. But I believe he had a few outings where he went like only 5 innings, but his pitch count was like upper 80s or 90 or low 90s or something like that. That's a lot. He
didn't have many. And by the way, everybody, we're not ripping Paul Skenes here.
Gosh, no. This is literally grasping at like the tiniest straws.
That's actually the point of the exercise is what can he do? He insists he can make himself better. He referenced inning count. He also referenced start count. So if you go back to his inning count from last year, Chris, it was at 187 and 2/3.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's a hell of a season on so many levels that I'd be wasting everybody's time by coming up with the superlatives. But that figure, that 187, was 10th in Major League Baseball, which tells you, and it supports Chris's point, that not many people do this. I want to say there were only 3 players last year, who reached the 200 inning mark.
There were 3, yeah.
3? Okay, yeah. Who were they? Just out of curiosity.
I have to pull it up here. I was looking at Paul Skenes' game log from last year. Pitching leaders, MLB innings pitched. Logan Webb, Garrett Crochet, and Christopher Sanchez.
Yeah, so these aren't even necessarily the guys who roll off the tongue when it comes to, the Tarek Screwball and so forth. Skenes can get himself to that level, but he also mentioned, and this is the kind of thing that used to get a giggle around here, and it doesn't anymore, but he also mentioned that he needs to be ready for playoffs, and he needs to be ready to be at his best for playoffs. It's been so long since we've had playoffs. I don't even remember. I'm trying to think and find some black and white footage.
So looking at this right now, there was a stretch of 4 in a row, and then after a couple of outings, another one. So like they're all throughout July, he only pitched 5 innings, 3 times in a row.
We appear to have lost Chris for a moment here. He's out in Indianapolis covering the NFL scouting combine. So he's looking for Wi-Fi wherever
5
it
inning
is that he can
outings.
find it. Now he's
Yeah.
back. Okay.
Oh, sorry.
You don't even know that you were out. Why don't you
No.
finish your thought here? We just got video sent to us by Jose Negron down
Let's go
there in
there. Yeah.
Port Charlotte. Want to do that first?
Yeah. Let's go there while I try to figure out what the heck's going on with my internet.
All right. And here comes. This is Paul Skenes down in Port Charlotte after throwing only about half of his pitches for strikes.
The last 2 years about the All-Star game, just the benefit of being able to pick guys' brains, be around guys that you really aren't usually around. Do you feel like you're going to get value, even more value at the WBC, based on the amount of time you're going to get to spend with guys that you're not usually around?
Yeah, I mean, the All-Star game, you don't have team dinners, you don't have team flights, you don't have any of that stuff. We do now, so there's going to be 2.5 weeks to pick guys' brains and see. I mean, talking to them is great, but seeing how they operate is another thing. So, aside from winning gold, that'll be a pretty good little reward for doing it.
Look at him. He's already talking about winning gold. This is not the first time he's done that.
Mm-hmm.
This week. He actually made a reference to, the United States hockey team winning gold. And how, that's something that the Americans ought to be doing in baseball as well. One would think. But I guess we'll see how that plays out. What were you saying?
No, I was just going through Paul's, starts and from last year, and there were a few like 5 inning outings where it was like 88 pitches, or it was like 5 1/3. Like he got into the 6th inning, only got 1 out, but he had like over 90 pitches, and I'm just like, that's a lot. I kind of think by the rule of like 15 pitches per inning. So if you pitch 90, you should get through 6, something like that. But then there were a couple of outings where 5 innings, only 78 pitches, and he's pulled. Like, why?
Well, in fairness, Paul, and I covered a handful of those starts myself last season. Some teams would just walk into that box and watch 2 pitches, even if it meant an 0-2 hole. They didn't care. They knew that as a team, they weren't going to beat him. So the best chance that they had was to have 3 or 4 innings where they could try to hack away at the Pirates bullpen. It was Milwaukee. That's where it was. And Paul was annoyed that this happened. He understood why it happened. He understood that it was something, and the Brewers talked about it after, totally unapologetically too. We're not going to beat that guy. But they're like, it was the equivalent of, you're not going to pitch to the big-headed, juiced-up version of Barry Bonds because the whole thing was just unfair. So you just go ahead and put him on. He can't beat you if you put him on. And I think that's what basically they were looking for, a way to just avoid him. It was an intentional walk until they'd get to somebody else. And he being the competitor, he's not just going to, go up there and throw and groove 2 91-mile-an-hour fastballs because he knows they're laying off. He still has to make his pitches. So I get it. I that was part of what happened, but there also can be outings like the one he had today.
Yeah, and I don't think anything that happened today is of concern.
Oh God,
at all.
No.
So this happens on opening day. Even then, still be like, all right, not the greatest.
He could have 10 starts like this. It just wouldn't matter.
Yeah,
when you're special, you're special. You put yourself onto some other level. I swear to God, Chris, I understand what makes him interesting, fascinating, almost as much in terms of the way he speaks and carries himself as it is the way he pitches. But as a pitcher, it's boring to cover him. Like you just occasionally there'll be some kind of fluke freakish thing, something that you see between him and the catcher where they were trying something or some kind of reaction that a hitter had that you can write about. But for the most part, you're just like, yeah, man, it's the fifth inning. He's got 9 strikeouts. You know what I'm saying? It's just like it's so common and so expected that it strictly from a reporting standpoint or a commentary standpoint, what do you say? Other than get him some runs.
Well, yeah, you gotta get him runs. I mean, it's insane. I will say though, like my experiences of covering Paul for the handful of games I've covered throughout the regular season, but then
the All-Star game too.
Covering both of his All-Star games.
Mm-hmm.
I covered the one in Texas. I covered the one and then the one in Atlanta last year. The way that it's so easy to get caught up in that entire spectacle. It's the Midsummer Classic. It's the red carpet for everybody. Literally the red carpet for everybody. He's got Livy Dunn on his hip. He just seems like it's no big deal.
No, they're all days ending in Y for him.
Yeah, and it's just and both the conversations that I see take place, the conversations, granted, very, very short, that happen off the record, and then even whenever he steps in front of the media and answers questions, he's the same guy.
Yeah,
and you can see the drive that he has, but it's not this intense, like in your face, but it's like it's almost like a volcano. If you're just looking on the outside, it doesn't look like anything's going on. But
the word when I think of him in terms of the way he prepares himself to perform, I think of the term driven more than any other, because driven doesn't involve being outward.
Yeah.
You can be, in fact, most driven people, I dare say, tend to have the inner motor going a lot more so than the outer motor. The outer motor can be kind of full of crap. Okay.
It can be.
And in his case, you see it. You just heard the way he answered Jose's question about going to the World Baseball Classic. And he's like, yeah, you can pick their brains, but you can also watch them.
Mm-hmm.
And when he says that, he's not just referring to watching a pitch, although that's a big part of it. Like watching them actually pitch in the games. And then hearing guys in the dugout talk about how they pitch and learn. Oh, wow. Boy, I wasn't aware of that. Really? Does he do that? Oh, yeah, he does do that. Look at that. Wow. That's pretty cool. Well, they also can watch and take in some of the stuff that's done before games, prep, little tidbits, tips, and advice. Although most of that, I'm going to guess, is in the reverse, because Paul's going to be the one going out there with that strange log-looking contraption that he uses out in the bullpen to get his arms stretched out. Paul's going to be the one that's throwing a football like he's Johnny Unitas, even though he's never played the sport.
Which is hilarious.
That's so wrong, by the way. He could come out there where you guys are right now. I'm not kidding. I think, first off, they would look at 6'6", 235, and then they'd watch him spin it. It'd be like, are you kidding me?
Yeah. No, seriously. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you talk about ideal quarterback size, like all the measurements and stuff will be coming out. Yeah. 6'6", 235. Yeah, that's ideal quarterback size right there. And yeah, he can spin it. He'd be a good quarterback, I think.
A little bit of an update from Port Charlotte. Connor Griffin was hit on the foot by a pitch and was just taken out of the game. It's the foot. I mean, it's really, really, really hard to break the foot or to have something significant happen.
Depends on where in the foot, though.
Yeah, I know. But as the result of being hit by a pitch, that is some really, rare territory. And remember that it's spring training.
Mm-hmm.
So at the first sign of anything, in particular with a player who's important, you're going to take him out. You're going to take him out. So I'm sure there will be updates afterward. But that to me, I don't want to sit here and play Todd Tomzik. But
Oh, no.
there's I don't think there's much to worry about there. Let's take a look at the rest of this. The rest of the performances today. I like this. O'Neal Cruz leading off 2 for 2 with a walk in his 3 plate appearances. He also had, I believe he had didn't he have a steal? He did have a steal. And scored the Pirates' only run. You want to talk about cliched conversations we can have, huh?
Yeah. And it's one of those ones where we talk about pivotal players.
Oh,
I don't think he's a pivotal player. I think you're right whenever you talked about Brian Reynolds being
yeah, it's Reynolds, yeah.
the pivotal player.
Swing vote.
But when you talk, maybe X factor is the better term for Cruz.
But it's been that, Chris, for years now.
I know it has. I know it has. But I think it might even be highlighted even more now because he'll have actual hitters around him. And I think if Don Kelly does the job, well, he'll make sure that whoever's batting behind Cruz is a legitimate hitter. It's not going to be a guy who's going to bat.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. One thing, and I want to try to be a little bit careful about how I say this. Every time any of us talks about Cruz, and I am no exception, and I'm going to bet that everybody who's with us now in the live chat isn't an exception. We give him so much leeway. Like, we still look at him as if he's some raw prospect who just got to Bradenton from the Dominican, and they're just showing him around the cafeteria for the first time, teaching him how to use the vending machines. That actually happens there at Pirate City. He's not. So when I hear, as I did when I was down there, look at how great Marcell Ozuna's been for him. He's really palling around with him and everything. And I'm thinking, he's 27. This isn't coming from somebody who bashes Cruz. I love the kid. I think he's got a heart and a soul to him for the game that most people won't be able to appreciate through just seeing him on TV, especially when he messes up because he drags himself down. The ball goes under his glove in center field and rolls by, and he kind of just goes like this, and you think he doesn't care. No. That's not who he is. But when like Tony Beasley, who's going to be a specialist type of coach for the Pirates, was telling me that he believes that Cruz can be a Gold Glove guy in center. Now, I'm not about to. Bees is a baseball lifer. I'm not about to. Okay, and you've dealt with Bees. This is one of the better humans in the game.
Phenomenal.
Not about to laugh in his face.
And he said something similar about another outfielder I've covered in the past too, that it did not think it would happen, and it ended up happening.
Who was that? Seager?
Joey Gallo.
Joey Gallo, that's right.
Because he was initially a third baseman. Then they tried him out then they moved him to first base, but he had a rocket arm, and they were just like, somehow we can take advantage of that in the outfield. And I remember talking with Bees, and Bees is like, that dude can win a Gold Glove. And I'm like, okay, I know the arm, but it's the range. Like, he's not the rangiest guy and everything like that, but he ended up winning one.
But here's the thing with Cruz, when you go through the whole list, other than experience and awareness, there's nothing that he can't do out there better than literally everybody else in terms of
he can run, he can throw,
his tracking, his arm, his all that stuff. Now, is he going to be able to handle or navigate a wall better than no, and we've seen that. Is he going to be able to catch a single on a single bounce follow me on this one, to either his left or right. One of those high bounces where a great outfielder is just waiting underneath that thing because they timed the single well, not to try to catch it.
Mm-hmm.
And then get that ball in to second base and hold that guy to a single. This is also part of being an outfielder.
Yep.
And these are the things when you talk about the true greats in center. For I'd say for Pirates purposes, you're obviously going back to Andy Van Slyke, but they've had a young Andrew McCutcheon was pretty bleeping good out there. Starling Marte was way better than anybody gave him credit for. Nate McLouth won a Gold Glove out there. He wouldn't have today because all the metrics would have really punished him for his limited range, but they didn't back then. He just caught everything.
Yes.
In Cruz's case, I don't know how that's going to come just like that.
Yeah. The one thing and this is not like carrying water or making excuses or anything like that. It's not. But I wonder, just for a guy who's trying to take that next step, like with the bat in his hand, like that's a undertaking in and of itself.
Right.
He's unique.
Well, he just hit 200. I mean, it's not like he can forget about that part.
No, but then you add in the fact that he's gone through a position change, and it's not like you're going from shortstop to second base, where you're just changing what side of the diamond you're on, and now you throw it a lot shorter to first base than you used to. You're not just playing the outfield, you're playing center field, and you have to, it's a lot more than just see ball, go get ball.
Yeah.
You have to learn so many different intricacies on how you maximize your range. The tools are there, the arms there, the running abilities there. It's coaching. It's like, how well do you take the coaching? How good is the coaching? But how well do you take the coaching and apply it? How well can you learn the position? And I don't know. It's getting to the point where it's like, you would like to think at some point it's all going to hit in some way or another. Not that he's going to turn into a star,
right.
But the defense he's got the position down. He might not be the greatest hitter, but he does a couple of things really well at the plate. It's not just, hey, I can hit it a million miles when I get a hold of it.
Jose reports to us from Florida that Griffin, getting more specific here, was hit by a pitch in the foot, and he stayed in the game to run the bases because that was an HBP. So he didn't even come out right away. He just wasn't sent out to play the field for the seventh inning because why would you be? So I'm going to reiterate this. This doesn't strike me as being some super significant thing, but then, I'm not sitting here examining him either. Guys, we're going to have another one of these double shots of Pirates tomorrow. And right now, we're going to switch over to our Penguins channel and do a double shot of Penguins because we're just flexible like that. And there is some significant injury news, really significant injury news on that front. Hope you can join us.